Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank is away on business again, so we'll do our best to hold down the fort for him while he's away. This is the show we talk about the Patriots, the Bruins, the Celtics, and the Red Sox. Get you guys caught up to speed on all the goings on over the last week, and give you an opportunity to chime in with your commentary and thoughts and so forth. So I'm going to post the link so you guys can join the show. And we have quite a bit to talk about today. We have the Olympics going on. We have a bunch of Bruins players that have been playing in the Olympics, so we're going to get an update there. We also have the Celtics starting back up after the All-Star break tonight. And we also have the Red Sox going to be starting spring training in another couple of days. And we got a little bit of news out of there too. So bear with me for one more second. I do need to do something at the very beginning of this show right now. I want to wish my wife happy 50th birthday. I know sometimes she watches and sometimes she doesn't. So if you're watching, happy birthday. No cake yet, but because you're working, so it'll come. We'll have cake. Don't worry. So. Welcome to the 50 club with the rest of us Kiesels. All right, let's move on to this. We need to start the show with this. The U.S. women's hockey team won the gold medal today against Canada. They won 2-1 in overtime. Unfortunately for me, I had to work, so I did not get to see the game. And I did try to watch one of their games earlier in the tournament. I think they were playing, I don't know, Italy or I don't know, Japan or whoever they were playing. I was trying to watch them. And yeah, I'm smart. Danny. I'm about as smart as a beach ball. Let's see. So USA, the women, I was watching a game. They were winning like, I don't know, 6-0. And the shots was like 38-4. And I was like, all right, they're pummeling them. I can't even watch this. And so I didn't really watch any of the games they played. I think they had 5 shutouts in a row. I think in 6 games, they only got 1 goal and scored like 31. So they really mopped everybody up until today. And so Canada had a 1-0 lead, and USA tied it with 2 minutes left. And then they scored in overtime and won it. So kudos to them. Good. I'm glad to see it. And anytime you can beat Canada for a gold medal or Russia, one of those countries, it's good. And so with the men going at it now, coming up, we have we'll switch to the men's side because Team USA had some games last week. They played Denmark on Saturday, a game that they won 6-3. Bruins goalie Jeremy Swayman started in net. The game wasn't really as close as the score indicates. USA dominated most of the first 2 periods. They dominated the game. And actually, they dominated the whole game. Sorry, I got my games mixed up here, my notes. But they dominated this game, and they outshot Denmark 47-21. But Swayman was like, he was like so-so. He did have some good saves, but this I want to say it was a second goal was from like outside the blue line, and he let it go by him, and he blamed it on the black on the boards or some nonsense. But he got that goal, and then also typical bad goal at the end of the second period. They gave up with 3 seconds left, and I'm just like, I can't even watch a hockey game without yelling at my TV for them to not give up a goal in the last minute of a period. I mean, and of course, Swayman's in net, so it's like, double whammy here. It's so aggravating. Um, you know, Denmark was up 2-1 at the end of the first, and then USA poured it on. They scored 3 goals in a row. Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Noah Hannafin, goal scorers for USA, and then they scored 2 goals in the third period to ice it for the 6-3 W. Again, I don't think the game was really as close as the score indicated. They made it harder on themselves than they needed to. Swayman stopped 18 of 21 shots. I don't think he won't see another game the rest of the tournament, probably. Not with Connor Hellebuck getting the nods now, and he's a Vezina Trophy winner, so that's a guy you definitely want in net. No need for anybody else to see any action the way he's playing. Next game they played against Germany, they beat them 5-1. Like I said, Hellebuck was in net. Austin Matthews had 2 goals and an assist. USA jumped out to a 3-0 lead after 2 periods. Again, another game that wasn't really close. The USA dominated the first 2 periods. This is where they outshot them 28 to, I think they outshot them 28 to like 13 or something. So they had a 3-0 lead after 2, and then the third period, about 2 minutes in. I'm not 100% sure if they're on the power play or not, but Tage Thompson for the Buffalo Sabres scored on this wicked sick backhander. Hold on 1 second there, Danny. Hold on 1 second. Tage Thompson scored on this wicked backhander. He was at the side of the net, and he was facing his back to the goalie, kind of sort of turned around and looked and just like lifted it like right in between the post and the shoulder. It's like perfect place shot. I think it was sick. That was awesome to see. So, they're loaded. USA is pretty loaded. And, Danny, I see that. McAvoy was physical. You know what? He's been physical again this whole tournament, just like he was in the Four Nations tournament before getting hurt last year. And that's really his strength on these kind of teams. He doesn't have to carry the offensive load like Quinn Hughes or, Cale Makar for Canada or any of those kind of guys. He's got to get in the other guy's way. If you look at last year when he knocked Connor McDavid on his rear end, that's what he brings, and that's what they need. And hopefully, I'm not trying to jinx anybody, but I hope he doesn't get hurt again during the rest of these last few games that they have coming up. Because obviously, it'd be a big blow to the Bruins again, not having him 2 years in a row in the second half of the year. But he's definitely one of the better and more physical guys they have on defense on Team USA. And Mike Sullivan, who is former Bruins coach, former Penguins coach, current New York Rangers coach, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Penguins, is actually McAvoy's father-in-law. So I'd be curious what those conversations are like in that household. But again, another good win for USA. Germany got on the board about halfway through the third period. Tim Stutzel from Ottawa, notorious Bruins killer, scored the lone goal for them. So they take care of business there. And then next game they played against Sweden. Again, I had to work, so I didn't get to see the game, which I'm a little frustrated with. They can't figure out a way how to get these games on in prime time too, or like a replay so people can rewatch it, and not at like 2:00 in the morning. Nobody's freaking doing that, but they should make a way for people to see these games. But nonetheless, USA beat Sweden 2-1 in overtime. Clearly one of the tougher matchups they've had. Um, so, Sweden was the number 7 seed, and they had a 1-0 lead until 1:31 left in the third. The USA had a 1-0 lead until 1:31 left in the third. Again, last 2 minutes. For Sweden, New York Rangers star Mika Zibanejad scored to tie it, and then the game went into overtime, and USA scored. Quinn Hughes scored in the 3-on-3 to get the W. Much needed win. And what they do in the Olympics, and I've been calling for this for at least 10 years. They have 10 minutes. They have overtime, has 3-on-3 for 10 minutes, and then they go to a shootout after 10 minutes. I want the NHL to institute this rule because I don't think 5 minutes is enough time for them to decide the game. I think you give them the extra 5 minutes to try to figure out so you can stop the shootouts, because I freaking hate those too. I can't stand them. I'm not gonna get into it here about why I don't like them or whatever, but I just don't think it's the right way to decide a game. And the weird thing is, just like the playoffs, in the gold medal game, I want to say the gold medal game is no shootout. It's regulation, just like it's sudden death overtime, just like the NHL. It's 20-minute overtime periods. So I don't know. That's something I'm going to bring up again later on, I think. But I do like the fact that they have 10-minute overtime with 3-on-3. I think it's good. So also, worth mentioning, Canada came back to beat Czechia 4-3 in overtime. They were down 3-2. They scored to tie it in the third period, won in overtime. Sidney Crosby left with a lower body injury. He did not return, and he was having an MRI today, and his status is in question. They are not ruling him out for the rest of the tournament yet. So basically, they're not tipping their hand, which makes sense. But again, he plays for Penguins, so I don't have any dog in the fight as far as he's concerned. But you don't want to see the top guys getting hurt and missing time. So maybe USA will play Canada and he won't be available. That would be good for USA, obviously. Let's see, what do you got there, Danny? Not wearing the bubble anymore. Yeah, I saw that somewhere along the line, McAvoy took the bubble off his face. I don't know if I was him, I would have kept it on, because I just feel like they're going to keep targeting his jaw, like whoever that goon was on Florida that elbowed him in the face and got no penalty. I mean, there's no need for that. And I forget which team he plays for. Might be Sweden. The guy on Florida that hit him, during the handshake, the guy apologized or whatever. McAvoy didn't really want to talk about it, but listen, it's bullcrap that he's got to deal with that, and he's going to have to keep dealing with it. But he's a tough customer. Let's see what he can do. So the schedule, upcoming schedule, it's tomorrow. It's Canada versus Finland at 10:40 a.m. and the USA is playing Slovakia at 3:10. And those games are our time here. So I'll most likely miss the first period at least, and probably part of the second, because of that start time. So not happy about that. But hopefully USA can win. So the losers of these games will play each other in the bronze medal game on Saturday at 2:40 our time. And then the winners will play in the gold medal game Sunday morning at 8:10 a.m. And so, the local sports guys around here are not happy that it's on at 8 o'clock in the morning. And, you have to realize that over there, it's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and they have the closing ceremonies on at night here at 8 o'clock. So they got to deal with that. and I don't know what day they're leaving either. So I don't know if they stay for the closing ceremony and then come back, you know, the same night, or if they wait till the next day. But they can't be playing the game at 3:10 in the afternoon over there. That's like 9 o'clock at night already. So I don't know. I'll be up watching for sure. Whoever's in the gold medal game, even if USA is not in it, I'll still watch because these games only come around every 4 years, and they're usually very entertaining. And you got to take advantage. You got to take advantage of watching these. So that's pretty much it. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let me give an update on the players that played. David Pastrnak for Czechia. He had 2 goals and 3 assists in 5 games. I think he got off to a little bit of a slow start. Was probably frustrated with himself. Also, let's see. Pavel Zacha was supposed to play for them. I think he was too hurt though. I didn't see his name in any of the box scores in any of those games. So I'm thinking he's still injured. Charlie McAvoy, no goals, no assists, no points, but he's a +2. And as Danny mentioned, he's been physical the whole time. So they need that more than anything else. Elias Lindholm. Now, I don't know which games he might have missed, but I saw a couple of his stat lines. He's got no goals, no assists, no points, -4. Hampus Lindholm, no goals, no assists, no points. These are for Sweden. Henry Yukaharu, who played for Finland, no goals, 1 assist, 1 point, and ± of 0. And surprise here, Dan Lukmelis, who's playing in Providence this year, 2 goals, 2 assists for Latvia. So I haven't paid as much attention to Providence Bruins as I should be, because I don't know what kind of season he's having, but them as a team recently just won like 10 or 12 games in a row. They're in first place. And I'm supposed to be going to a game next month. We'll have to see how that goes. But, I like to go to 1 or 2 games of theirs to see, just to see some hockey. The Bruins, the regular Bruins, is too expensive. There's no way I'm spending money going there. But the amount I would spend for 1 Bruins game, I could go to 2, maybe 3 Providence Bruins games. So I am looking forward to trying to get down there to see them before the season's over. All right, let's move along. Let's watch the time. We need to move on to I'm going to move on to the Patriots because they're still making news. There's all kinds of, what should they do about Stephon Diggs? What should they do about this guy? And, should they move Will Campbell to God and, all this other nonsense that's going on. So, Mike Vrabel already said we're not moving Will Campbell. We're not moving to, God, center, or tight end or whatever. He's the left tackle. And I like that. I think you don't want to mess around with him, and you don't want to try to find a new left tackle either, unless you can sign a guy that's like a really good guy. I don't know. The left tackles are really hard to come by. And, as we mentioned weekly here, the play that he gave them versus what they had last year was a complete 180. Some of the tougher games notwithstanding. Against the guy from Cleveland's name is escaping me. Damn it. He had 5 sacks against the Patriots that week. Will Campbell got eaten alive. Poor guy. But listen, he's going to have those until he gets better. And he was good in a lot of the other games. So I'm not worried about Will Campbell. I am worried about guard. I think Jared Wilson should move back to his natural center position. I think Garrett Bradbury did a pretty decent job I think he was on a 1-year deal. So you drafted Wilson as a center and shoved him into guard because probably the other guys weren't as good. I would move him back and try to sign a guard um, through free agency and solidify the line that way. And I would also try to obviously draft or sign maybe a younger, and I think they have younger right tackles for backup for Morgan Moses. I think he's here next year, the year after. I don't know, he signed a 3-year deal. Uh, you know, he was pretty good over there. I mean, obviously not, all pro, but solidified the line. I mean, listen, the 2 tackle spots were horrible last year. They were Swiss cheese all year long. But now they got to get some depth and they got to improve a little bit so that they can protect Drake May better. And I do want to see them upgrade at tight end because they don't have any blocking tight ends. I want to see them maybe go back to using a fullback. I'm tired of seeing, these offensive linemen and defensive linemen they keep putting in the backfield or, tight end Easterbrook or whatever his name is. I mean, look, you want to run the ball, even if you put the fullback in there and you're letting them know that you're going to run it. Too bad. Execute the plays and run it down their throat and make them figure it out how to stop it. This is where a guy like James Devlin was a huge asset. And I know a lot of teams don't use fullbacks anymore, but I think they're worth having. Danny looking to acquire Tyreek Hill. I'm not in favor of that. Not only does he have an Achilles injury, he's got a knee injury too. He tore up his knee, and he may not be back until like November. So there's that part of it. There's also the diva part of it, which I don't like. If you've heard me on here before with Frank, I don't like the diva receivers. There's always something with them guys. They have either I want the ball all the time or they have some kind of off-field issue. And I know that they're needed, but I don't like them and I don't want them. And Tyreek Hill, I just don't. He's too injured. He's 31, 32, whatever, 31. And I don't like the combination of injuries that he's got, plus the diva factor. How about no? Let's get somebody else. There's a bunch of other guys that they can try to get. And what you don't want is if you're going to keep Stephon Diggs, you don't want to add another guy like that. There's been some mention about the Patriots trading for A.J. Brown. Another diva receiver sitting there complaining about not getting the ball while his team's winning. They won the friggin' Super Bowl. And then they were winning, and he started complaining. It's like, dude, what are you complaining about? You're winning. It's obvious that the winning's not more important than the stats. And, for a guy that's making $30 million a year, whatever it is he's making, that doesn't fly with me, and that's why I don't want him either. I know he has a relationship with Vrabel because he played for him in Tennessee. But I don't know. Again, you're going to add him with Diggs. Both of them are going to be crying about who's not getting the ball. I mean, that's just stupid. There has to be another avenue they can take. So I'm curious to see what they do. I think they might sign another free agent guy or make a trade for a guy that isn't producing. May have been a high draft pick. Maybe it's their 3rd year, kind of like N'Keal Harry, right? Other teams have guys like him where they're not panning out, and maybe you can make a trade for a guy like that and give up like a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick and get that guy here, and then Josh McDaniels can work magic and utilize him. As far as Diggs goes, I don't know if they're going to bring him back. He has a $26.5 million cap hit for this year coming up. They do have a potential out where they could save $16.8 million in cap space by cutting him. My best guess is that maybe they'll ask him to restructure his contract and give him more guaranteed money to lessen the cap hit. It's just a guess. I don't know if he'll go for it. If he really wants to be here, maybe he will. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Maybe they can rework it and keep him here. And again, a guy that, diva receiver, blew his way out of Minnesota, blew his way out of Buffalo. Unfortunately, got hurt in Houston, tore his ACL. Came here. I think that this is just like when they brought Randy Moss in first year or so. Great on the team. Model Patriot team guy. Blah blah whatever. But at some point, when they're not getting the ball, they're going to start squawking. So I just hope that, he stays on the same path he had this year as far as being an asset for the Patriots, and realize that, he can still be a big part of the team, with a full year recovered from his injury, ACL injury. He should be better next year. Again, not to say that they don't need wide receiver help, because they do. They really do need a legit number one guy. I don't know if he's that guy anymore. He's like a 1A, right? But I would not be upset if they brought him back and then they added somebody. And listen, there's some intriguing options too. I think I already mentioned this. They need to upgrade tight end. Kyle Pitts is out there as a free agent. He would be good, except I don't know how he blocks. That's the problem. See, here's the problem with the tight ends today. They don't block the way Gronk used to block. They're not all around good tight ends anymore. They either block good or they catch good. They don't do both at the same time good. That's a problem. I don't know why or how the college guys are being taught what they're taught, the way they're being taught, but they're not being taught to do everything and be a well-rounded tight end anymore. Because all the teams have guys that catch the ball, but they don't block that good, or they have guys that can block up the wazoo, but they can't catch. They got cement hands. So I think that the days of the Gronks and those well-rounded guys are probably done, and you're going to have more Travis Kelce's and more Tony Gonzalez and more Hunter Henry. And I love Hunter Henry too, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't block good enough for what they need. So they got to upgrade there. Austin Hooper, same thing. He can catch here and there, but he can't block. So they need to fix that. I've heard also the scuttlebutt about, the ESPN reporter there said that, during the Radio Row week there in Super Bowl, she said that, Max Crosby wanted to play for Mike Vrabel, and the Raiders have come out and said that they want 2 first-round picks and a significant player as part of the trade. I say, no way. I'm not doing it. I don't know how old Crosby is. I didn't get a chance to look it up beforehand, but I know he's at least 30. He was injured last year, missed a bunch of games. And I'm not spending 30 to 35 million on a guy that's 31, 32, whatever he is, and he's injury prone, and we're giving up first round picks. Again, I think I said this last year too. The Patriots are not in position right now to just give away first round picks. Not for those kind of guys. And listen, Max Crosby, he's in that class. He's a top 5 pass rusher, right? He's in the same class as oh my God, I am so drawing blanks. It's bad. The dude that's on the Packers that got traded from the Cowboys. There's him. There's the guy in Cleveland, right? There's Max Crosby. There's a top 5. He's in the top 5, but he's not worth 2 first-round picks. They need to utilize those picks properly. Now, because they were in the Super Bowl, they're going to be picking 31st, which means that what they should be looking to do maybe is move up if they see somebody that they really like. It depends on the draft class. Now, I don't I don't really follow college football at all. Um, I can't get into it anymore. But when the draft rolls around, they have those magazines that have like, the top whatever it is at each position. I do try to get into that so that we can figure out, who they should go after. Um, I just think that this might be the year they need to try to move up and get a better guy instead of staying at 31 because they still rebuilding and they still need to take the next step. So, if it was me, I would try to take that 31st pick, move up somehow, but not give up your next year's pick as part of that. Your next year's first round pick, like find a way to, keep that pick. Maybe it's a one. You're number one this year, and like you're number three next year or number two next year, and then you move up. I don't know, but we'll have plenty of time to dissect that when the draft rolls around. The weeks leading up to the draft in April. They have the combines coming up next month. In a few weeks, I forget when free agency starts. It's either March 1st or something like that, and they have like roster days where if Stephon Diggs has to be cut by a certain time, or they have to, or his salary stays on the book, all kinds of stuff like that. I have not dug into that yet. I will have that for next week's show because we'll be in the last week of February. So those periods will be right around the corner. So I'll have more information next week for that. But I did get to look at a brief free agent list. I forget who put it out. Everybody's got, ESPN's got one, NFL.com's got one, this one's got one, that one's got one. I grabbed one. I don't remember where it was from, and they had the top 50 free agents on it. And I started looking at the offensive linemen. There's a guy that's on the Giants who's a free agent, and he's 6'4", 338. It says he had a career season in 2025, finishing with a 98% pass blocking efficiency, tied for sixth among tackles. And here we go. He's undersized with short arms. Gee, where have we heard that before? So listen, you can have short arms. He's 31. He's been in the league for a while. So Will Campbell, not an issue. But if you're looking to add some depth or maybe, do something there, maybe this is a guy you look at. They have a contract projection of him for 2 years of $42 million. So maybe it's him at right tackle, and maybe Morgan Moses is gone, and you get a little bit younger there. I don't know, but that's interesting. It says he can drive defenders laterally with abdominal torque. He's a crafty run blocker and has bowling ball energy as a run blocker. I mean, listen, they need a guy that can do run blocking and pass blocking at the same time. Some guys are one or the other as well with that. So there's him, and there's another guy, Dalton Reisner. This guy's a guard, 6'5", 312. He's 31 also, established veteran at left guard and right guard. He's got both, so he's versatile, which is good. Violent puncher and striker in the run game and pass protection. He's particularly sound, reliable as a pass protector. 98% pass blocking efficiency, was tied for 8th among guards. Plug and play, above average start on either side of the line. Listen, that's how you protect Drake May. Get him, sign him, put him at left guard. 2 years, $14 million is his projected contract. That's not a lot. That's a guy right there I'd be looking at if I was the Patriots, and put him at left guard and improve the line. That's just me. And again, I don't have a lot of, the top 10 at guard and the top 10 at tackle and all that. We'll have a bunch of that. Like I said, in the next week or two when free agency gets closer. But, just two names right off the top that jumped out at me in the top 50. And, whenever I hear 98% pass blocking efficiency, that means they're protecting the quarterback. And that's a good thing, which, obviously the issues Patriots had last year protecting Drake May. But listen, it's upside, and their schedule is going to be harder. And I think it's pretty obvious, and I think Mike Vrabel kind of alluded to it with his comments after the Super Bowl. Like, look, um, you know, I think the players understand that, you know, they're always going to, I'm paraphrasing his comments because I don't have it in front of me, but he basically said, we're always going to be trying to get, younger and cheaper. And, you still have to bring in a mix of veterans too. But I think that keeping the roster exactly the same, is not the recipe for success. And I have heard the sports radio guys mentioning Washington as a team that kind of like just rolled back everybody from the previous year, and they got caught up with the injury bug, and they had a bad year. And so I just think that there's going to be moves to be made, and hopefully they'll make them. And I do want to mention one more thing before we switch gears. Terrell Williams, who was signed on as the defensive coordinator last season and had a battle with cancer and missed a majority of the year, pretty much the rest of the year, except for the Super Bowl, has been moved to a higher level assistant position on the team, and they elevated Zach Kerr as the defensive coordinator. He's the one that called the plays for Terrell Williams while he was out, and I think he did a good job. I mean, the Patriots defense got better as the year, and they were good when they had everybody. The first 9 games they only gave up an average of 50 yards rushing per game, no 100-yard rushes when they had everybody. When they lost Milton Williams, and he missed a bunch of games, that really hurt them. And when he came back, him and Robert Spillane, too, at linebacker, when those guys were out and they were giving up chunks of yards, when they came back, they were good. And listen, I give credit to Zach Kerr because, without having, top 5 pass rushers and whatnot, you got to scheme it better. And they did. I mean, the Patriots defense in the playoffs, all 3 games they played, and I understand they didn't play the other team's top offensive guys were missing. They caught some breaks, but the defense still had to make plays, and they made those plays. So you have Zach Kerr as your new defensive coordinator. All right, let me watch the clock here, and we'll switch gears. And now we're going to move on to, if I can find it right here, we're going to move on to the Celtics. They have a West Coast road trip coming up. They're back in action after the All-Star break. I do want to talk a little bit about All-Star weekend before we jump into the Celtics real quick, because they were off, and so I didn't watch a lot of the All-Star weekend stuff. It's not the same as it used to be, in the 80s and 90s when we were watching it. I've been kind of turned off. The slam dunk contest really hasn't been that great, except for that guy McClung that won it the last couple of years from the G League, and he wasn't in it this year, so I didn't have any reason to watch because I just can't. I don't know. It's not doing anything for me anymore. And I caught the last round of the 3-point shooting contest because I was watching USA versus versus who the hell were they playing the other day now? I forget, Germany, I think. So I only saw the end of that, and Damian Lillard beat Devin Booker 29-27. That was a really good round, both of them. He made 21 of 27 shots in the final round, and he joined Larry Bird and Craig Elo as the only 3-time winners of the 3-point contest. And I read a quote earlier from him that says he's planning on coming back next year for the 3-point contest. So, I mean, 21 out of 27, that's incredible. No matter what the circumstances are. So, good for him. Um, as far as the game, the old East versus West games they used to have when, I was watching them is, no defense is being played. The score is like 180 to 185 or whatever. And you're only interested in seeing your guys, right? I wanted to see Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, whatever Celtics were in, wanted to see them. Uh, you know, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, those guys. So they changed the format around this year, and they made 3 teams with 8 guys each on it, and they had 2 USA teams. They had USA Stars, which was mostly veteran guys, and they had USA Stripes, which was mostly young guys, and then they had and they had a world team. They had a world team of global all stars. So those will be like the foreign players. So they did format. It was very similar to what the NHL does with they play a 20-minute period. 2 teams play each other. The winner moves on, and then they have a second game for 20 minutes, and 2 teams play each other, and then those 2 winners play in the third game, so to speak. They kind of did something like that, yeah, except they had 3 round robin games with 1 12-minute period for each game. And they had the Stars beat the World in the first game 37 to 35. Now, again, I didn't see any of this. The only game I saw was the last game. The Stripes beat the Stars 42 to 40. And then the Stripes went on to play the World and beat them 48 to 45. Now, first 3 games pretty close. I want to say one of them was a buzzer beater. I forget. And then the final game, the Stars beat the Stripes 47 to 21. That game wasn't even close. That game, they beat the brakes off of them guys. So that's it. I was watching USA versus Sweden Sunday. So the Stars shot 18 of 33 from the field and 6 of 18 from 3. So they shot 54% from the field. And everything they shot was going in, it felt like. And the Stripes were ice cold. They were only 8 for 31 in the game, 26%, and 4 for 19 from 3 for 21%. Jaylen Brown was 2 for 10 in the game, 0 for 7 from 3. And he took the most shots for his team in that game with 10. I think like 3 or 4 other guys had 4 shots. So it was just ugly. That game was an ugly game. And so, I know that, in the text chain with the guys guys on Frank's other show, Box Seats, in that chain there, Frank said that he really wanted to see the USA versus the World in the last game. So I don't know how they fixed that. I mean, I really thought that what they were going to do when they announced it at the very beginning, that they were going to have a world team. It was going to be USA versus the World. You would have 12 USA guys and 12 world guys. And then instead of having East-West, you have USA against the World in an all-star game. That's what I thought they were going to do. And I would probably kind of like to see them do that. I mean, I want to see those guys playing with each other against it. I want to see, the foreign guys, Djokovic and Luka Doncic and Wemby and all those guys playing on the same team, see what they look like, and see who's better. I mean, that's the whole idea. I don't think that these 2 round robin games really gives at 12 minutes gives you a good glimpse of who's better. And so I don't know, maybe that format in a short burst. Also, too, there's another factor that those guys were talking about, and that's the effort factor. And so, if there's nothing on the line, they're not going to kill themselves in these games. So, stupid the cup tournament thing they have in like November, December, or whatever has more meaning than the All-Star game does. And I think they need to find a way to incentivize these guys to play hard in these games. I don't know I don't know how you get them to do it, but if they're out there slacking off the whole time, it's not going to work either. So I don't know. They're going to have to make more tweaks. I think the tweaking should be ongoing. All right, I want to talk about Jason Tatum's return. There's a lot of scuttlebutt and innuendos and rumors and whatnot about when he's going to return, whether or not he's going to return. He put some stuff out there about he doesn't want to mess with the chemistry of the team, and made it sound like he's not sure if he wants to come back. I think that's just garbage. I think he's coming back. I think he's just trying to downplay it. I think he's got a docu-series coming out now. It says he posted a 90-second video on his YouTube page that has a trailer that's described as The Quiet Work. It's a 5-part docu-series that follows his recovery from the Achilles surgery. The docu-series will air every Sunday night on NBC in between the network's East Coast and West Coast Sunday night basketball games. So I don't know why that's necessary. I just think these guys today, they get too self-absorbed, and also they're trying to make money. And I don't blame them for trying to make money. If it's going to help them make money, that's fine. But I just couldn't see in the 80s Larry Bird or Michael Jordan or any of the other guys that coming back from this injury and having like a look at me on my way back series. I don't know. I think that there's a timing issue. There's a question of whether or not he's timing his return with NBC to get more publicity now that the NBA is back on NBC, and so there's that part of it. There was a game. One of the Celtics games was moved. It's being moved from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Against the 76ers on March 1st as part of their coverage, and so that there's scuttlebutt about whether he's coming back on the 1st. I don't know how that's going to work, though, because if they haven't already started showing the docu-series like 4 weeks ago, he's got 1 week left. So I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if any of the episodes have already ran or not. I didn't get a chance to really dive into that. But, I feel like the players sometimes become too much me, and not as much about the team. And I've hopped on this before. I want the players to focus on winning championships. I want them to, especially when they're young. Listen, you guys are going to make a boatload of dough. Focus on winning some championships now while you have opportunity, because there's too many guys that chase it when they're in their 30s and they don't get the opportunity to get there. So I'm not a fan of this docu-series thing. If it's on, will I watch it? Yeah, I'm going to watch it because he's a Celtic. And I'd probably watch it if he wasn't a Celtic. I mean, I think a lot of those, like Football Life or those series they have that takes you behind the scenes of some stuff. I like those. I do like them. But, can you just keep quiet, do your work, and come back and never mind all this gibberish? Why does the attention and spotlight have to be on you during that process? Let it go. Anyways, I got to watch the clock. We're going to talk about the Red Sox next. We have my favorite Red Sox person, Sam Kennedy. I am so sick of this ass clown. Excuse my French. He put his foot in his mouth again. He made some comments about Alex Bregman. Give me half a second here. He said Somebody asked him about Alex Bregman last Sunday, and he said, "Look, if Alex Bregman wanted to be here, ultimately he'd be here. He chose a different path. We wish him well. You guys didn't make him a good enough offer. That's why he's not here. It wasn't because he didn't want to be here. And so once again, you decide that you're going to gaslight the fans and blow a bunch of smoke up our rear ends, and no one's falling for it. So I don't know why, people are adamant about getting him to talk. Please don't talk to him anymore. Please stop talking. Between him and Breslow, my head's going to explode. I don't want to hear either one of them talk anymore. Just shut the hell up. I'm so sick of these guys. You're making excuses for the way you're operating. You're choosing to operate that way. You are choosing to make lowball offers. Look, he wanted a no-trade clause. You didn't want to give it to him. I don't blame you. Honestly, I'm not upset that Alex Bregman is not back here, because I did not want to give him a 5 or 6 year deal and a no-trade clause at 31 or 32 years old and watch him miss 2 months again with a hamstring issue and pay him, $35 million a year. How about no? I'm fine with that. But don't lie to us and, give us a bunch of crap and then walk it back too, because then Monday he had to walk it back because somebody got in his ear. And whether that was John Henry or the Nesson or whoever got in his ear and said, "Hey, Sam, you can't say that." He said, he walked it back. He said, "Sometimes I get myself in trouble by saying too much. Then I get myself in trouble by not saying enough." And he said, "I think with Bregman, I'll just leave it at a huge gratitude for what he meant to the organization. He's an awesome guy. We loved having him in the clubhouse." Save it. You can't fix what you first said, you dope. It doesn't work that way. You don't get to come back and be like, bottom him up. It doesn't. That's not. He's anybody that's been dealing with the Red Sox now over the last few years has got to be laughing at us. They have to be laughing at the Red Sox. They have to be laughing at Breslow. They have to be laughing at Sam Kennedy. They have to be laughing at John Henry. They have to be laughing at the whole front office. And I just think that their approach and that they're so detached, the human element, they have no human element to them. They're so robotic. They're like bots. And I think that they're turning people off. I don't know how they're going to be able to make trades the way that they're running this. He also said that, he pushed back against the assertion that the Red Sox ownership doesn't want to win championships anymore. And he said, it's hurtful for me, and that we might not care or have passion for winning. It's not true. It gets frustrating. You got to prove it on the field. And you don't just sit there and say there's one way to address it, win. You have to get the right players and spend some money to help make that happen and put a good product on the field. Stop giving me freaking David Hamilton and Romy Gonzalez and then, blow smoke up my rear and tell me how great they are when they're making freaking errors up the wazoo. Knock that shit off. Excuse my French. I'm tired of that. So I think that, Tom Werner, he's another bozo. He had to go and make a comment. I don't know why people talk to these guys. He made some stupid comment about Rafael Devers and said, it was discouraging, blah, blah. Dude, just pick up a glove. You treated that guy like a piece of crap. Look, I was at the very beginning of this, and, I go on tangents here and there, and I was like, Devers is a jerk, this and that, blah. I side with him now totally. They totally F that all up. You don't lie to the guy, first of all, and then tell him to put his glove away, and then somebody got hurt, you wanted him to play first, now you want him to get his glove back on and give him no time to adjust and try to make the transition. And then when he says no, you get mad at him and trade him and get him out of here, and then make these stupid comments like, how about no? Shut your mouth. You treated the guy like a piece of garbage. What do you expect? I would have been pissed off too. Thinking back on it. I know that they get paid. I hop on this too. They get paid $30-40 million. You should freaking fetch water if that's what they want you to, roll out the top if that's what they want you to do. To an extent, I get it. Right? I'm all about that. But in this case, they effed it up so bad, they screwed up, and now they're sitting there still blaming him. Just shut your mouth. Tom Werner should never speak ever again. Another guy, we're going full throttle. Take your full throttle and shove it. And pick up a glove and shove it. Just go back to making movies and stay in the press box and shut up. Both of yous. I'm sick of hearing it. Uh, I do want to touch on. They did make a move that I was not aware of until I saw this earlier today. They signed a guy before they made the trade for Caleb Durbin. They signed Brendan Rodgers to a minor league deal in early February, 3 weeks ago. And I didn't realize they signed to a minor league contract, but I didn't realize that he won a Gold Glove in Colorado playing second base with Trevor Story in 2022. In 134 games, he had 10 errors, and he led the league with 99 double plays turned at second base. And in 2024, he had 132 games, only 8 errors. Those years, he averaged like 13, 14 home runs, 50, 60 RBI, mid 260 batting average, and can play shortstop too. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it at least on the bench. And I'm happy as hell to have him and be rid of David Hamilton. Put me a guy out there that won a Gold Glove, even if he hits. Last year he only hit 191 for Houston, but he's hitting 191 and giving you Gold Glove defense. And David Hamilton's hitting you 191 and giving you, 8 errors in 50 games. No good. Tired of seeing that. So this guy is going to be the surprise, I think, and make the roster at the end. I'm gonna use that as one of my predictions for later on. But that's a shrewd pickup in my opinion. They need all the gloves they can get. They have now Caleb Durbin at third, Marcelo Maya. Those two guys are going to be battling out for third. They have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa they signed. They have Rogers, and they have Rami Gonzalez. So they have, Falefa. He's a Gold Glove winner at third base. I think that the defense should be way better now, which is what we've been screaming about. And so they didn't get the big bat for the middle of the order, but they did upgrade the pitching and they upgraded the defense. And I just think that, what good is being able to score 5 or 6 runs in a game if your defense sucks and the guys are trying to pitch good and, you're giving up 7 runs because you're making errors and booting the ball all over the place. So I think they're going to be better this year. I know last year my prediction for them was 88 wins and missed the playoffs. I think this year, they're going to be. I think they're going to get 90 to 92 wins. I think they're going to be in the 90-win category now, because when they're in Fenway, that lineup doesn't have to have 30 and 40 home run guys. They're going to score runs. They win games in odd ways. So I think they can do it. And that's so, I know Danny wants to see positive Pete. This is about as most positive Pete as you're going to get until the season starts. As I'm saying, the Red Sox will get 90 to 92 wins. Last year they had 89, I think. I made the wild card, so they should be around 90, 92 wins, as long as everybody stays healthy pitching wise. So, and they do have Romy Gonzalez had shoulder surgery. He's out now, and I read that he's expected to miss opening day. So, kind of a big loss, against left-handed pitching. But that guy Rogers is known for hitting left-handed pitching well. So, he's I think he's a 290 or 300 hitter against lefties. So he could be a guy that could replace Gonzalez or Rob Refsnyder, who left. Those guys were killing left-handed pitching. All right, enough of that. What they have coming up, the Red Sox have, where did I put it? They have the typical yearly exhibition game against the college. They're playing Northeastern this year. I think they played BC last year. Tomorrow night, where they'll wax them like 10-2. And then they open up spring training starting Saturday. So we're getting ready now. Spring training. Let's go. I want to see I'm ready to see green grass and get rid of this damn snow. I'm sick of this crap. I've had it. I'm ready for spring, and let's go. All right, let me move on to. We need to move on to the poll questions from last week. Last week we had. Where are we? Last week, all right. With Tyreek Hill being released by the Miami Dolphins, should the Patriots go after him? I think we had 50 yes, 50 no percent. And, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think it's a good move, but we'll see. There's some rumors going on that he may reunite with Kansas City. Now that Patrick Mahomes redid his contract and opened up like $40 million in cap space for them. Question number 2, with the Olympic hockey down to the final 8, are you watching and rooting for Team USA? Yes, we want to see them win the gold. 100% no, don't care at all. 0, no, 0, rooting for a different country, 0. I mean, everybody's rooting for USA to win gold. That should be a no-brainer. But the reason I phrased it that way is just in case, we have Brad Marchand fans here like, oh, I want to see Marchand win the gold with Canada, or David Pastrnak, I'd like to see him win the gold with Czechia, something like that. That's, people have favorites, so I just thought it was interesting to try to get people's input there. Last week's predictions, weekly predictions. Last week, I said the Patriots would get punished by the NFL for fudging Drake May's injury. Wrong. Miraculously, they did nothing. I still don't know if they'll do nothing, but we'll see. I said someone will get injured during spring training. Romy Gonzalez out. Ding, ding, ding. I finally get one right. I just think that in spring training, it's always something. And I think there's going to be more, obviously. So I'm not going to use that as a prediction for the next go around. So I don't need to do that. But next, I said Jeremy Swin would get a shutout in his Olympic debut. Wrong. Not even close. He really wasn't as good as I wanted him to be. So egg on my face. Now we'll move on to this week's predictions. I say that USA will beat Canada in the gold medal game this weekend. I'm going on, and it's not, I know it's not really going out on a limb being a USA fan, but I think that's the matchup that everybody wants. And so I'm hoping we get that matchup, and I'm hoping USA wins. I say my next prediction, the Celtics will split on their 4-game road trip. Now, they're playing Golden State tonight, and typically that means a loss for them because they can't handle Golden State for some reason. Steph Curry usually kills them, but he's out with a knee injury, and the injury is called runner's knee. Excuse me. And I had no clue at all what the hell that was until I looked it up, and that is it's overuse causing dull aching pain around or behind the kneecap, and it occurs when the kneecap tracks improperly in its groove, causing friction and irritation. That sounds like knee replacement surgery. Ouch. Not a fan of that, so good luck to him. And let's see, last prediction. I didn't have this ready yet, but some unknown for the Red Sox this upcoming week in the lineup is going to hit a couple of home runs. And whether that's a AAA guy or a AA guy or something, there's going to be somebody that breaks through and cracks a couple, because there always is. There's always a guy that's, he might be a AA guy, and then they see him in spring training, and he's like on the verge of making the roster, but he doesn't make it. He goes to AAA instead. They elevate him one level. I don't know. I just think that somebody's going to have a hot bat this week somehow coming out of the gate. So let's see how that goes. All right. That is it for that. That's it for the show. That's all the time we have. I overran as usual. Sorry, Frank. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Thanks for chiming in the polls and chiming in here. And be sure to check us out on YouTube. And we'll see you next week.